Now, I was going to build out the chiropractor that I just landed. However, I'm going through all their pictures. I was looking at, this is the layout of his campaign, and I was going through all of his stuff, and he's just got nothing that I can use. So I'm going to have to actually go create content for him, which I typically do anyways, but I was trying to do something for this video. So what we're going to do is create a fake campaign. I have enough pictures from other chiropractic stuff in here to where we can just create a fake campaign, but we're going to build it off of this model. So basically, what we're looking at, you recognize this. I showed you guys how to do this in the beginning of the course. I basically have my little blueprint, my retargeting ads, landing pages, thank you pages. I'm going to do an email and text. Then also my traffic sources will be Facebook ad, my first Facebook ad before the retargeting. I'll also send people to the landing page or to the Facebook ad through the website Pixel, and then also the buy sell trade sites, because they have a pretty big local buy sell trade site where this particular chiropractor would be. So anyways, let's take a look here. We would usually go through, check out their Facebook website, etc. However, we're not doing that because they don't have any good content, and that's typically why I have the second thing, create my content. Because if they've got a bunch of good stuff, like some places are kind of proactive, you can use a lot of their stuff and then you'll just have to go create minimal content. I have to literally create every picture, everything for this particular campaign for this guy. So then the next step would be build your funnel. So we're going to use content that I already have. We're going to build out a funnel, and then we're probably going to launch some fake ads or something like that just to show you guys how this will all work with retargeting. I might even just launch some of my own ads unrelated to this funnel build just so you guys can see how that works. Okay, so going into back to our ClickFunnels, I'm going to start at a blank landing page. Why? Well, I could use one of these if I wanted, but I want to make it hard on myself because I want you guys to understand how ClickFunnels works really well. So first, we know we're going to have an opt-in page, and then we're going to end up having another page, the thank you page. So I'll go ahead and just create that right away as well. And on this, there we go. And we may end up changing that in a minute because I'll show you a cool trick. So everybody does their funnels differently. Everybody's got their own style, their own thing, and you'll develop yours, and I'll show you mine. But first, we're going to delete this little blank starter thing, and I want to show you how ClickFunnels works. So think of your landing page as just square rectangular blocks, and that's how we're going to build it out. And if you think of it that way, it says add new section. We're going to do a full width section. I like full width because it is responsive. So when you think about it, and I'll change the color so that way you can get a really good idea. This is the section we just created. So now what we would need to do is add a new row. So when you add a new row, you can do 1 column, 2 column, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'll show you the difference. So if we do 1 column, now we can add 1 element. So that element might be a headline, it could be a video, it could be an image, it can be tons of different things. So just kind of going through these here. So the headline is your larger headline. Then if you just highlight over the orange where it says add new element, now you could add a sub headline. Just kind of showing you how these work. You can add a paragraph, you can add the bullet list, just so you see how these things are built. You can add image, but if you notice, because we did it as a single row, they all just stack up on top of each other like this. Now, what would happen if we wanted to create a double row? Well, what if we don't want it all just stacked up on top of each other? So now instead of highlighting over the orange, creating an element, I'm not clicking anything. I'm literally just dragging the mouse over and highlighting over it. Now we go to the blue where it says add new row, and now we're going to add a new row. And this time we'll put 3. You could do, so now it adds these. So now you could put an image here, an image here, and an image here. So now you get the idea of how this all works with ClickFunnels. Now, once you get familiar with it, you'll learn quite a bit. You'll get good at making things look pretty, and I'll show you that, how to do that here in just a sec. But I want to show you the difference in sections. So now, if I wanted to, I could go just into a wide section, but you'll notice now that the sizing is different. So now the sizing is like, and I'm just kind of going through, it gets smaller. For some reason, it's more drastic from the full width to wide. And then you got, this here. So now you can kind of see like the difference in the section colors and all that. And you'll see why we would choose, medium, wide, whatever. So some people in your basic funnel build out, what most people will do is the idea of it is that we're trying to direct them to a button. So before we do anything, first I want to change a background, get a background in there so you can see it. So to change the static background, we go over here to settings. And there's a lot of stuff in here. Like you can integrate your SEO metadata, which is basically how your page would come up if you just pasted the link like in Facebook, chiropractor funnel, sweet landing page. And then you could put things like whatever. It probably won't show up in Google regardless, unless you really hit up on some keywords, neck pain, back pain, whatever. I'll just put my name. We click the image URL, and let's take we'll take this here, we'll put that. So there we go. Okay, so going back to settings here, we got the SEO metadata. Tracking codes is when we're putting in, like, I don't put them in on here anyways. I do it on the back end on the settings, but the Facebook pixel, which we'll get to. But then your background. Now you have different choices. So for the background, you could just do a color if you wanted. However, your color will always be overridden by, if that's even the right way to say it, overwritten by the background image. So let's just say you have stock background images, which I don't like, but let's just say we did this one. It changes it. So the red is no longer even existent because the image goes over it. We're not going to use that background. Sometimes I will, but typically I like to actually use something from the practice. Now, like I said before, the practice that I was trying to do these for, and also I do recommend that every now and then you delete your images, because otherwise you get too much junk in here. What do I want? Okay, I'll just see how this looks. Okay, so it doesn't look bad. It didn't blur. Sometimes you put it in there, they get too blurry. So now what I'm going to do is create my first section. You have a choice. You can do just a wide section, and you can create this thing. And this is probably what most people do, right down the middle. And that's what we'll do. I actually typically add an image first because I usually will put the logo there. And then I might add I use the subheadline for the main text. I know you can use the paragraph if you want. And then I might add and then there will be a button. You'll see how this is all going to look in just a minute. So I'm just kind of getting my order here. So now first I'll change out my image. I'm going to end up using any image because I really don't care. We'll just do this. So you can kind of see there. This would typically be the logo of the chiropractic office. Now let me show you something. See how it kind of looks bad, like the transparency or whatever? What I'll do is if you hit settings here, now you can choose a different background color. So let's say I want to choose white, and then you just lower this like this, and now your transparency just got a little bit better. So now maybe we we'd write up our ad copy, or we can even imitate our ad copy. So we'll put, hey, let's say my name is Dr. Ross Christofoli. Let's see here. I am doing something really awesome to get the word out about my practice. I am giving away 25 vouchers to get a free exam and x-rays for only $21.99. So you might say, wow, that looks really, really bad. Well, let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go like this, like that. Maybe I'll change this up a little bit. And let's see if we can get a different color, what it looks like. I'll keep this black, and then I'll show you what I do. I'm going to just change this to the bold. And then I'm going to go for the bold color. I'll change the bold. And I'm also going to underline it. And I might even go all capital. And then I'm just going, let's see what I do here. For only, so I'm kind of like emphasizing on these words that are kind of like trigger words. So now what I'm going to do is lower that just a little bit. And then what I'll do is I'm going to add a new line of text, and it's going to say, to get your free voucher below. See, some people have this habit, and I hate it, of like repeating things way too often. So they'll be like, hey, my name is Dr. Ross Christofoli. I'm doing something really awesome to get the word out about my practice. I'm giving away 25 vouchers to get a free exam and x-rays for only $21.99. And then what they'll do is they'll go get your free exam and x-ray voucher for only $21.99 below. And it's like, why did you have to keep repeating it? It's like it almost confuses people. Less really is more. The more like you type, the more likely they're gonna bounce. They're gonna look at it and be like, I don't want that. So now let's see what color is gonna look best. Now keep in mind, I would typically never use that logo up top. It's just there to be there. So we're gonna go like this, and we're going to make this a little bit bigger, and we're gonna change and what I always do, it's just a good habit, and actually it's good for compliance, is to put click here, because it's showing direct action of where they need to go, what they need to do to be able to get the voucher. we'll do the red. Now, let's look at the button for just a little bit. I want to talk to you about different options you can do on your button. So, obviously, as you change this, the size changes. I like to go full width. So, what I do is if you go to advanced, so basically showing you how I got to there, I clicked on the button, went to it, I went to settings, then I go to advanced, and I click fill width. Now it goes all the way to the end. Now, you have a lot of options on how you want this button to look. So you can cut corners off and make it more rounded, like, like that if you want. You can also make them square, like that. So let's make these a little bit rounded like that. I kind of like that. Now, you can also set a button effect. You have to be careful, though, because these can make it look spammy. But I'll show you. If you do it like this, if you do the wobble, when you, well, let's see, it's only when you hover over it. So I'll click the rocking. You can see now it's going like this. You just got to be semi-careful with how you use them because you don't want it to look spammy. I kind of like the pulse. It looks kind of cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the button action. I want it to open a pop-up. So I'm going to go back and I've got it to open the pop-up. So now we are all good to roll. If I wanted to, I can change out the font style, however I want to do it. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that. Now that we've got this, there's something else that I like to do. I want to add a map to it. So what I'm going to do is go like this, hit an image, and then I will see if I have any maps or if I've deleted them. Yeah, this will work. So I'll put that there. So there. Now we have a map, and we could change up, where we want this thing, so that way people kind of see where it's at. The reason we do the map is it really adds social proof. So I'm going to add actually my business logo in here just because I want to show you guys something. When it comes up real big like this, all you have to do is go where it says image width. You don't even have to adjust the height, and you just do this and it'll automatically do it until we find the one that is going to work for us. So this will work. Now let's talk about spacing because we haven't really addressed that at all. For instance, see how there's this gap between here and here? We might not like that. So if we click this and we go over to here to top, it pulls that up. So basically we wanted to do that to our section, but what if we wanted to go down? You can use the top margin as well. Now see how this here is offset? I also want this to go up. So I want to go like this. Actually, I'm going to have to do it like this. There, now it goes up. I also want to pull this up to here. So how can I do that? Well, I'm going to have to go here, remove my top margin. Boom. Now that pulls that up like that. So now people see this, it goes here, they then get your free voucher below. People might say, well, why don't you put the map on the thank you page? I like to do that this way because two reasons. One, it shows that you're local, you're not a spam, you're not a scam, whatever. But two, if there's landmarks around it, they can visualize where you are at. Now, what's something else that you might add on this page to try to get them to convert? Well, sometimes what I'll do is something like this. I might add another image down here and go to, see if I have anything like this, and add, for instance, something like this. And now I have a testimonial on the front page. So now the front page looks pretty good, right? Wrong, because you're going to have to mobile optimize it as well. I'm going to show you a really easy, quick way to mobile optimize everything without making your page confusing. So Clickfunnels has the ability to, you might say, what's wrong with that? Well, it just looks out of place. Clickfunnels has the ability to make things only visible one way or another. Now we could do this. We could go and individually clone all these things, and that would work, right? However, I don't feel like messing around with all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this actual section. I'm just going to clone it. And now it's completely cloned our actual section. Then what I'm going to do is go to this and I'm going to hit settings. And notice down here it says all mobile only desktop. And I'm going to click desktop only. So now this one over here is still at all. We're going to click that. We're going to go to mobile only. So what this is allowing me to do now is I can go like this and I can shrink the font. I can change this layout. So I can go like this. So now the button's right there, maps right there, everything's good to go. I can hit save. Now watch, because this here is a mobile only, when I go to desktop, it didn't change anything, and you can no longer see the mobile. So it's pretty cool, right? So now we're going to do one last thing, and I do think that this is important, especially if you want to try to not like lose Facebook accounts, whatever, just because Facebook will end up checking some of these things. Add a footer. In your footer, there's different things you might want to put. Like for instance, you might want to put a privacy policy, things like that, if they have one. I'm going to get rid of this bottom there. Now, when we preview this really quick, I want to get rid of that. I don't like that space there in the bottom. Oh, you know what it is? We have that, we have this cloned campaign. There, that should do it then. Yeah, now we're good. I had a clone, the clone campaign, not all of it was part of it. Okay, so now we're gonna add a new row. It's gonna get kind of goofy and wide. Then we can go paragraph. And we could, this is where you can put privacy policies and things like that. So we'll put like Social Main Street LLC. I'll change this color. And now let's just change our sizes just a little bit so that way we don't have this really huge footer. Now, if you wanted to, like, say, for instance, put privacy policy and you wanted to have a link to it, you just highlight over it and you hit the link, and then you would put the link to whatever your privacy policy is. Now, if you don't want it to be blue like that and you do a link, you just click the color, and then boom, there you go. So now you've got a good idea how to do a front page. The psychology behind a front page like this is that everything is kind of leading to the button. I've seen some really ugly front pages. So you want everything to make sense. You also want everything to build credibility and look real. You don't want it to look fake. One other thing, if you're working for clients, always make sure you go up here, go to general, and where it says affiliate badge, hide it. You do not want your Clickfunnels, I don't know why I saved the template, you do not want your Clickfunnels affiliate badge down at this bottom corner, because what can happen is now they know what you're doing, they know how you're doing things so quick, and they could try to emulate it themselves. So this funnel here would probably end up working pretty darn good. When you click this though, notice there's no pop-up yet because we haven't built it. So in our next video, I'm going to show you how to get a pop-up to convert.